This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy at blast. All rise. Here comes the judge.
Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
We are back for round two. A's Cast Live from the winter meetings. We are going to be on till about 4 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, we are going to tape a guy that you may know. He's a two-time All-Star with the Athletics. He is the reigning American League Manager of the Year. Stephen Vogt will be with us at 5, but that doesn't matter to you because we're going to play that tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
We are in Dallas for the winter meetings. If you don't know, I know it's noon back in the Bay Area. We've already been on already for 3 hours. Now another 2 hours as things are developing here in Dallas. We will keep you updated. Obviously, the big story coming into the winter meetings was Luis Severino signing with the A's. Proudly, we can say we were the big story coming in here to Dallas. Everybody was like, wow, the A's are spending money. As we told you for the Luis Severino during the press conference, if you didn't get to watch it, shame on you. But we said it was a symbol. It was a big symbol. And everybody here in baseball was like, wow. Which camera are we on? I'm looking at that camera. We're in this camera. All right. Because I got Ray sitting next. So it was a big, big deal. Bobby Evans now back with the San Francisco Giants is going to join us in seconds. But obviously the Juan Soto. Ray, who's to my left here, Ray will be back with some information about Juan Soto. Would you call it laughable? Very laughable about the negotiations with Juan Soto. Why Juan Soto chose the Mets over the Yankees. Maybe it wasn't all about money. Maybe it had to do with a chef and his parents. We will, that's a little cliffhanger for you. But now joining us, it is great to have him on once again. We've been doing this now for many, many years at the winter meetings. 3-time World Series champion. The great Bobby Evans is with us. How are you?
Hey, great. Nice to be with you. How's it going?
I am so happy for you to be back home with the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a good feeling, and a lot of familiar faces, some new faces, but a lot of great energy and a lot of upside for the club. I think it does feel like going home. It does for me, for real.
I mean, you go back like 94, 95, something like that?
94. I interviewed with Sabian and Tony Siegel at the winter meetings in Atlanta. I was in the commissioner's office at the time, 1993. Took the job in January 94.
I was still playing baseball at San Jose State at the time. That's how long ago that was.
It's pretty good.
So that's why I was so happy, because knowing, all the different things you're doing outside, what this organization means to you. And that's why we were just so happy that you're back in the fold, because it's family to you.
No, it
you being a part of trying to I don't know how you totally change the culture back to what it used to be, but I can see where Buster's going. Just talk about when they brought you in, the philosophy. What do you guys want to do, or what do you want to make different than what the Giants were dealing with?
Well, it's also, Zach is somebody that's become a part of the fabric of the organization too. And so it's fun to get to mesh in with people who have been there a long time and people who have become a part of the fabric in the last, 5-6 years. And so, I think that Buster comes in, just as a longtime Giant, with the mindset of, what he feels like made the difference during his time as a player, those championships. All that we accomplished, in 10, 12, and 14 were on the shoulders of, great teams of the past, whether it was, the early days of the Giants in the late 50s, early 60s, all the way to the fun that Will Clark and those guys had in the 80s. And then even the Giants teams of the early 90s, the early 2000s. It's a history lesson in baseball with that franchise. And I think that Buster appreciates, what was happening before he became a Giant and what happened while he was a Giant. And I think he brings his energy and his experience of what that environment was like in a clubhouse, what his perceptions were of the franchise during his time, even maybe different than what it was the day he got there to the days later when we started winning. And I think his perspective is, to be player focused, to be very, positive about the energy that we expect from our players and believing in what our players are capable of doing. Not only what they show they do numerically, but just who they are and what they bring to the table in a clubhouse. And I think that, believing in players is part of what I think brought success during his tenure. And I think that's something that he wants to regenerate. I think I don't know where the culture was. I don't have any feel for the last 6 years. I'm sitting on the outside of it. I can speak to what we had when I was here and what I sense Buster's talking about relative to a culture. But we want a winning culture. We want a culture where people are valued and the front office, the people, the coaches, the scouts, the analysts, ultimately the players, minor league players, major league players. You want an environment, I think, where there's clear communication, there's clear expectations, clear accountability. I think that, Buster wants people that believe in each other. He wants to empower his baseball staff to do their job. These are the things that I hear him say and hear him talk about. And again, I can't speak to what's been the case the last 6 years, but I still think there's some great people from the last 6 years that are new that I think are going to really contribute to that culture. And there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic about what we can accomplish over time.
Shortstops to have 20 home runs, 70 RBIs the last 4 years. It's a club of one. And you guys just signed him. Willy Adames, is this a guy, and you look at his defense, he's a terrific player. Re-signing Matt Chapman, keeping him in so he didn't have to go, get out of the contract, go through this again, just ink him up. We know his relationship with Bob Melvin. Wow, the left side of the infield pretty strong for the San Francisco Giants going into next season.
No, it's a good feeling. I remember when I first came to the Giants, Matt Williams was the third baseman. And now and soon thereafter in the mid-90s, Rich Aurilia became the shortstop, and then we had Jeff Kent at second, and David Bell at one time at third, Pedro Feliz at third.
You had Bill Miller at third for a while.
We had Bill Miller, batting champion, later with the Red Sox. So, this is a very strong start to, Buster's tenure, with Chapman and Adames. I know that's got to go through the final stages of getting done, but, it's very encouraging. And I think that, having threats in the lineup, really is important right now. And I think they've put together, a good young pitching staff and a good bullpen. And I think they've got to continue to find ways to lengthen the lineup, but off to a good start. And it's a good feeling. I know he's emphasizing pitching and defense, and Chapman clearly, obviously a Gold Glove winner there at third. And Adames has had success, traditionally strong success at short, not only offensively but defensively. So, hopefully we can continue to add and find ways to bridge the gap.
Whenever we're down here, whether it's been in Nashville, San Diego, now Dallas, I try and tell the fans, listen, you're dealing with human beings. And Christmas and New Year's, you don't want to go through the holidays without a job. A lot of these players, and Luis Severino was a big signing for the A's, and we talked to him about it. You want to be the teams, you as front office guys, you want to sign these big players because ownership, we want to sell. We're selling season tickets. We're selling spring training tickets. It's merchandise for the holidays. So talk about from a front office perspective, when you're down here, you want to get deals done because you want to have stuff done before Christmas.
Well, I mean, that's always been the case, but it's become less and less often that you can control that. I mean, the markets have been slow to develop. Agents have, been slow to take, anything less than they thought they would get, early on. So they want to wait and see if the market can pick itself up. So, but yeah, I mean, there's no question that when you can get pieces of your roster put into place sooner than later, it really frees you up to be more creative, the latter part of the winter and all the way into spring training. But now we're finding that you still have big name free agents still available in February and March. I mean, that's not healthy for the game. It's really not great for clubs, and certainly not us in the front office, and even worse for the players. So yeah, I mean, when we're able to get things done, whether it be trade or free agent moves, right now before Christmas, it's definitely gravy. The more we can focus on the finer pieces, the final pieces, the extra pieces of your club, as you get into the new year and pre-spring training.
I try and tell everybody, listen, I'm not in the front office. I'm not an agent. I not a player. I just, from a business standpoint, what I knew from the Angels is how much money Shohei Ohtani made the Angels away from the field. His return on investment was golden. So when he signed that deal with so much deferred, you knew the international money that he brings in really, in a lot of ways, pays for his contract.
Fair.
I look at Juan Soto, all the money up front, especially $75 million signing bonus, a $765 million deal, 15 years. This is truly a baseball deal. It is not like Ohtani's deal. I mean, I know that you work for the Giants now. You can't totally comment on it, but just when you hear those numbers, just as someone, you've done multi-million-dollar deals before, but when you hear that kind of number, what comes to your mind?
Well, obviously you are talking about other revenue sources coming in an Ohtani deal, and whether those same kind of dollars can be, replicated being in New York, is probably greater than a lot of other places in the country. But yeah, I mean, there's a huge gap in what, some of these bigger clubs are able to do than the rest of the league. And it does separate, or it creates a serious separation in terms of investment. And it does make you wonder, how long the competitive advantages are gonna continue to shift more and more towards these big market teams, because what used to be a separator of $20 million deals and clubs are making $9 million deals, the gap is growing larger, not smaller. So it does make you wonder. But that said, I mean, clubs have to look at what the return on any investment is before they ever make any kind of deal like this. So, obviously the TV deals, the corporate sponsor deals, the local revenue sources all play a factor in including international opportunities, play a factor that make you feel comfortable making that kind of investment.
It's a big investment.
No question.
I mean, think about when we were in San Diego, we were talking about the Aaron Judge, because the Yankees, the Giants, we found out the Padres got involved, right? This is more than double that.
Yeah, I mean, and you're still only talking about one player. You're not talking about spreading that money amongst many players. You're talking about one player getting this kind of money, and it does have more shock value now than I think even Ohtani did.
How about the Luis Severino deal? The A's, the biggest deal the A's have ever given out. Obviously, now going to be in Sacramento. It was a statement deal. What did it say to you?
I was surprised that was the biggest deal they've ever done in light of what the numbers are, the dollars are in the game today. But it is a great message, I think, for A's fans. Obviously, going into Sacramento, I think that they have a lot a lot of good. Dave Ford's done a great job putting a lot of pieces into place. So, clearly you don't make this investment without an intention to try to win. So it's good. It's a good message.
Before we let you go, we got to ask, how's Egyptian baseball? We've been following this. How are things going?
Kemp's done a great job continuing. I mean, there's a lot of obstacles now in Egypt that maybe weren't there, 2 years ago, but he continues to find ways to invest in really great baseball people going over, former big league players, as well as even now college coaches that have gone over to help instruct these kids and invest in these kids. And I think the interest continues to grow. I think the youth baseball is such a great market anyway, to learn the game, to not just teach the game at the upper levels with older kids, but you're working with younger kids. So it's energizing for Kemp and I think these kids to work together. We, when we're there, we've gone into orphanages, we've gone into school systems, we've gone into just public parks where we're teaching the game, and the energy is great. I think the numbers continue to evolve, into the thousands of kids, and hopefully at some point there'll be an opportunity to even create a league around this interest and have a season and a regular season. Teaching the skills and teaching the game is one thing, but actually having a season at some point I think will be fun to watch in the future.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. We always appreciate the time. Congratulations being back with the San Francisco Giants, and we look forward to having you on throughout the season.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Good to see you.
3-time World Series champion Bobby Evans right here on A's Cast Live. We got more coming up next from the winter meetings here in Dallas.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Brent Rooker, fresh off winning the 2024 Silver Slugger, spoke with Townie on A's Cast Live about the moment he realized his 2024 season was taking off.
Mid to late June, I think, is kind of when I kind of made the switch from who I was in 23 to who I was for the rest of the year. I think up until it was a series in Anaheim towards the back half of June. That up until that point, I had kind of been who I was in 23 still. The strikeouts were high. The average was kind of right where it had been the previous year. I had the power spurts, which is what were kind of keeping me productive. And then I made a few adjustments with swing-wise and preparation-wise and to my approach that series in Anaheim. And for the rest of the year, I was able to remain much more consistent in the fact that, I've always been very streaky power-wise, which is how a lot of guys work in the big leagues, right? The slugging kind of comes in bunches. You hit one homer, you tend to hit four. It's kind of that thing. So the difference between this year and last year was during those between those streaks of power, between those, little home run bursts, I was able to maintain. I was able to take my singles. I was able to take my walks. I was able to continue to get on base and remain productive in other ways to where I wasn't just solely relying on, hitting homers to produce runs.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksoul has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
For 175 years, Comerica has thrived through every rise and fall. We've lived through triumphs and turmoil, witnessed every advance, and survived every setback. Through surety and uncertainty, we've stood the test of time by standing by our beliefs, our values, and our customers. Comerica Bank, 175 years strong. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
A's general manager David Forth joined Townie on A's Cast Live and explained what positions he is looking to upgrade this offseason.
Third base is always the spot that jumps out at us as sort of the most unsettled spot on the diamond from this past season, and that's not to knock any of the guys who got reps and ABs over there, but it's just a fact. It was the one place on the diamond where we shuffled a lot of guys through and aren't quite sure what the answer is going forward. So you've got Schumann and Hernandez and Harris as possibilities there. You potentially have Max Muncy as an option there if Jacob's going to play shortstop. But the reality is we need to figure it out. So as we look out there, what's available, that's a spot we're keeping in mind. Not unlike every other offseason, pitching is at the top of our mind. And we did such a good job putting the rotation together this year. And JP continues to be the constant at the top of our rotation and the guy you can count on. And Beto and Spence and JT and Estes, all these guys did such a good job stepping up, essentially doing more on the major league stage than they'd ever been asked of before. So starting pitching, continuing to augment the bullpen is always going to be, a priority for us. But it is nice to sort of feel like the spots that I haven't mentioned, maybe there's an answer there that's going to be there for a while.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Streaming from the winter meetings, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
What the hell is that?
It's the CNN key race alert sounder. We got Ray here from the news desk. He's got some updates.
Okay. Karate Kid Ray, Mets fan, grew up in New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
So that's
get a pass. You get a pass, yeah.
Like you really could be. You could be Yankees, you could be Mets, or you could be Phillies, and you're kind of pretty much covered there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
So, but you grew up a Mets fan.
Yeah, grew up Mets fan, Jets fan.
You've taken it in the shorts a lot in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Jets, Mets.
Yeah. I'm a bandwagon Rangers fan just to annoy Commander Cody.
But we're just trying to show the disparity of you as a sports fan.
Yeah.
Jets have never won a Super Bowl.
I'm alive, no.
And they've never won Mets have never won a World Series in your lifetime.
No.
Because that was in 86.
Mm-hmm.
It was my freshman year of high school the last time they won. Long time ago.
It's been a while. It's been a long while.
So I'm trying to let everybody know that today, you as a Mets fan, at least one time in your life, you've gotten over on the Yankees.
I feel like a winner today, for sure. I feel like a winner. It may be very fleeting, but I feel like a winner today.
You won the winter meetings.
Exactly.
You've won the winter meetings. I love it. Well, someday you'll be like, man, the winter meetings in Dallas, that was awesome. We signed Soto. We're walking around big-chested the Mets. Look at us throwing Steve Cohen's money around.
And when we're 40-62, and wondering what happened.
And he's on the DL, and because you know what's going to happen. He's going to get hurt, and then they're going to be like, do you know how much money he makes every minute he's on the disabled list? All that stuff's going to come out.
Yeah.
It is all going to come out. But until then, you've won the day.
Let's go.
All right.
Static.
Yankees. Suffer, baby. Suffer. But Yankees, what are these ridiculous reports of why? Now, we're hearing 16 years versus 15. Obviously, right. I rather sign 15 than 16. But how? It's 27 World Series championships. The Yes Network's down the way here. How could you leave the New York Yankees in the pinstripes? Why?
Well, according to John Heyman, a factor that could have been in play is that there was an incident at Yankee Stadium earlier this season where an overzealous security guard dismissed one of Juan Soto's parents from an area of Yankee Stadium, as well as his chef, who also weirdly doubles as his driver. Now, it's been believed that Soto forgave the incident.
Wait a minute. Juan Soto's chef
is his driver.
Is also his driver?
Yeah.
I don't know about you. There's the great Billy Owens. I don't know about you, but I would not want my chef and my driver to be the same guy.
That's fair.
Two different skill sets.
Yeah.
And I want my chef concentrating on the food, not the car. That's all I'm saying.
He's got a George Foreman grill growing in the back seat. Just say, okay,
that's all I'm saying. So go over this again.
So there was an incident last year, or this past season, I should say, at Yankee Stadium where an overzealous security guard dismissed one of Juan Soto's parents from an area of Yankee Stadium, as well as his chef/driver. And it upset Juan Soto.
So much so he'd rather go play at Citi Field for 15 years.
Heyman did elaborate and said that it was believed Juan Soto forgave the incident, but the Mets, in their presentation to Juan Soto, they heard about it, and they made it abundantly clear to him in their presentation an incident like this would never happen at Citi.
Wow. And that is where I would fall on the I do like that about the Yankees. Because when you start allowing the players to dictate everything, it is a disaster. We've lived through it in a minor part, but it's an absolute disaster when players just do anything they want. It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Yeah.
So if you're basically telling him, hey, man, you can do whatever you want, just sign here. Oh, as I can just tell you, it's a disaster.
We'll see. If
Eric
it ends up
Martins
being
will
that.
tell you that's a disaster.
Sure.
Players have to be coached. Players have to be controlled. If players feel they can do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want, where in life would that be a good idea?
Yeah. No.
That's why you have parents and you have structure.
Right.
If the kids think they can do whatever the hell they want, if you're telling Juan Soto, hey, the Yankees did this. If you come here, you can do whatever you want. Oh, my God.
We'll see if the cool dad gimmick from Uncle Steve works out.
No. All right. Let's have Eric Martins join us here. The pride of Long Beach State. The man that is a part of everything infield, hitting, base running, athleticism with the Athletics. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a good offseason, but when you get to these meetings, it's like, oh, we're getting ready to go again. So I'm good. Yeah.
Luis Severino.
Wow.
I got to tell you, I've been around this a while, and I've been around a lot of weird times. But doing that press conference up in Sacramento and seeing him come in, and it meant something. It was a symbol. Severino and his stuff, great. But the signing of somebody was this symbol of change, and things are going to be different. That's how I felt. How did you feel about the news?
As soon as I saw it, and we got the message before it actually happened, we were like, wow, here we go. A lot of those things are coming to fruition now, which is good. Great signing. I mean, I like it. We all like it. We got a guy now. We got an ace. Great in the clubhouse. But some of the comments that he made playing against us when we were in New York, that our team reminded him of our younger teams that were really good and gritty, hard-nosed, and we're going to be a good team. That means that meant something to him to be able to want to come and play in Sacramento.
I like that too. Like, cause like he's like, yeah, it's like in 17 and 18 when
Yeah.
I was playing against these guys. I mean, it's a compliment, because that was a really good series for you guys there at Citi Field this year.
No, it was. I mean, we went in there. Those guys they were kind of struggling a little bit, right? And maybe they anticipated turning it around against us, and we went in there and then put it on them, which was good. Especially that last game. The last game was tough. We were down, but we scrambled back and we got that win. So it showed something to them.
Yeah, I thought about you during the World Series because we talk always so much home runs and what it's just like baseball, like anything else, is a sport. Yeah. No matter what level you play it at, right?
Right.
And I always use golf as an analogy. You can look great on the range, and you can hit high draws, and you can hit fades, and you can hit your irons and your driver, and you can do all this stuff on the range. But all of a sudden, you got to go out and play golf. You got to chip, pitch, putt, hit out of the sand, how you score. And baseball, when we're here at the winter meetings and we're like talking about all these numbers, how you run the bases, how you play defense. In the World Series, the Yankees were exposed by the Dodgers. Yeah. Stuff you teach to our players every single day, the Yankees didn't do, and that's one of the main reasons they went out in 5.
Oh, you're right. I mean, you really want to watch baseball, watch playoff baseball. If you're a kid, you see the big guys hitting all these home runs and doing all this stuff, that and that and that. But you want to watch real baseball in the big leagues, watch the playoffs. And the teams that go out and execute those little small things, run the bases the right way, play good defense, and do all those other fundamental sound things, those are the teams that end up winning. And the teams that can't do those things are the teams that get exposed.
Like think of the two plays. You think of Judge dropping it and
Cole not covering first.
But it was also Kike when he got halfway. Judge drops it, so he makes sure he's not out at second.
Right.
Then he gets to third, and he blocks Volpe.
Yeah.
It's base running, right? And then it's the cue shot by Betts, and it just all the time you talk about put the ball in play.
Yeah.
You're a defensive guy. Make the defense have to do their job, and the Yankees didn't.
Yeah. No, it was great. It was fun. I mean, talk about an epic inning right there, right? All the things that could go wrong went wrong. Right there. But all those little things that you talked about as well, Kike just being savvy enough to be in the way of a throw from Volpe or being in Volpe's way, not covering first base, those type of things right there are the things that, we've been trying to eliminate over the last few years, as with our group, eliminating the stupid mistakes, the dumb mistakes, the unprepared mistakes, right? We're going to make errors. You're going to kick balls. We're going to lose games. Well, we're going to lose games because the other team beat us. It's not because we beat ourselves. And so that's something that we did a lot better this year and something that we're looking forward to doing again next year.
You're going to have another young infield, obviously.
Yeah.
Geloff and Wilson up the middle. You've had a little more time with Geloff. What were the things for Wilson to tell him, all right, we need to make you an everyday shortstop at the big league level? What were the things you wanted? What did you say, I want to see you do in the offseason?
Well, we want to see him get a little bit more physical. I mean, it's a grind. I mean, he came up and played a lot right out the gate. He missed a lot of time this year. I remember at the end of the year, we're playing in Chicago and he comes out and he's a little lethargic, a little tired. He said, man, I'm tired. I'm like, I looked at him. I said, don't let Geloff, don't let Schumann, don't let these guys who've played 140 something games say that you're tired. Hear you say that you're tired, because we expect to continue playing for at least another month and a half after this. That's what we're preparing for. So that's something that I kind of pushed to him is, the physicality, the length of this game, the taking care of his body. I love him. He's going to be a good player. He's got instincts. He's got feel. He's going to catch the ball. He needs to get a little bit more explosive. But those things, he's got the intangibles to be a really good shortstop and be one of those guys that's going to hit at the top of the lineup and be a winning ball player.
Max Schumann, in this game where we only have, still hard to believe, we only have 13 position players. Yeah. Right? 2 of them got to be catchers.
Yeah.
So your numbers and your bench, what he showed he could do every day at short, but then knowing what he can do in the outfield, how valuable can he be to this team, being a guy that can play really anywhere?
Well, first of all, I'm proud of Max Schumann, and I told him this all year long. I told him this at the beginning when we just threw him at shortstop, and he was our everyday shortstop.
Threw him in and never gave him a day off. He played every inning.
Exactly. And that's what I told him. The first couple of weeks, I told him, I said, hey, it's going to speed up on you, because he had only played a few games at shortstop through the minor leagues, even though he came out as a shortstop. So the work that he did to improve and get better and grind. He's a grinder. He's a hard-nosed player. And him being able to, when we got Jacob called up and him being able to move to third, then moving him back to the outfield, the role that he's going to have to be an important part of this team and being able to do all those things. I mean, it's special to see. But just the fact that he went out and played shortstop every day for us and did pretty good, was impressive.
Yeah, people need to realize when you looked on the roster, you went, there's no one else who can play shortstop.
Yeah.
Like, what happens if he gets hurt? Like, people didn't think about that.
Right.
There was nobody that had any professional, like nobody on our roster other than him had played shortstop even in the minor leagues.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
he had to play.
And we're fortunate enough that, he lasted, what I'm saying, that he lasted. And, it's a testament to him. He's just a hard-nosed player. You know what I mean? Just throw me in. There was times where he was probably sore. There was probably times where he was actually hurting a little bit, but it wasn't going to stop him from playing. If he can walk, he was going to play. So towards that time, I had to kind of limit his work a little bit just to kind of keep him fresh to play, limit his routine and stuff that he did on the field, and limit his time on the field so he was ready to play every single day because we needed him. Because if it wasn't him, I'm still looking down who we would have been playing at shortstop. Who knows? I don't know yet.
The only guy while he was healthy was Ruiz, right? Ruiz had played short years ago in the Padres system.
Well, what's funny is I was hitting ground balls to Geloff at shortstop, and I looked at his arm and I'm like, okay, this could probably, if you have to, this is the guy that I would have felt comfortable going to shortstop.
We might put you out there.
I was getting loose. Trust me. I was getting with the strength coaches, getting my body ready just in case.
Routine. You have so many guys that you bring up. You got to teach them a routine.
Right.
Then how important is it for an infielder to every day be working on your feet, your movement, just that routine every day?
It's important, and a lot of these guys, when they come, they know that there's going to be some kind of routine, but they don't know the importance of it, right? Their hitting routine is important. They'll spend 2 hours in the cage, right? But for them to come on a daily basis and touch their defense for 5 to 6 minutes a day to prepare themselves to play the game, that's the important thing. And so when I do my routine, I have a basic routine for everybody. And then as we start going through the season, and each person right there, I kind of individualize it to each and every one. And now they feel uncomfortable not doing their routine. There'll be days where we've been grinding on the road and Kotz is like, I don't want anything on the field today. I don't want ground balls. I don't want routine or glove work. Guys will walk in, and if I send them to the coach's room, they're like, what's up? We got glove work today? I'll look at Kotz. He's like, go ahead and let them go, because they want to do it. They feel like they need to get that done. And that's the important part. Them wanting to do it, and it's important to them. They're starting to see how it's helping them. Right. We look at our defense this year, and we finished 13th in Major League Baseball in defense and fielding percentage. Nobody knows that, but we did.
And it got off to a rough start.
It did, right? But they improved because they got onto the routine. They worked on the things that they needed to work on. We finished like 3rd or 4th in the league in double plays turn. So those were the improvements that we talked about in spring training, securing the baseball, right? So now it's the little things that we need to get better at in different aspects of the game. But the routine, I think they've figured out that that's an important part of their day, and they take ownership of it.
Yeah, it's super important. It's super important. It's one thing that I was always impressed by with the Rays coming to town. Rays take infield. Their infield takes infield before every game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, night game, day game.
Yeah.
I've always been impressed by that. I'm like, that's why they realize this is what they have to do to win. Tyler Soderstrom, what do you think? Can he be an everyday first baseman?
Yeah. I honestly think he's athletic enough to do it, and he wants to do it. And the fact that he wants to do it is already important. So we've worked. He's athletic. It was sad that when he got hurt, because he was starting to build momentum to become playing every single day and figuring out his routine and coming out and working every day. And you're starting to see the improvements of more just being around the bag. That was the stuff that he needed to work on, was coming off the bag, working around the base, throws coming in, not stretching too early, being able to pick some balls and get out there. He can field the ball because he's athletic. He was playing catcher a lot the first couple of weeks that he was out there. He just dropped his knees and blocked a ball, keep it in front. That's all we need at the beginning. But now you started to see the athleticism with him. He's a pretty decent athlete
Yeah, he played shortstop in high school. It's like
maybe he was our next shortstop. I don't know. No chance.
Third base?
Well, we need a third baseman.
Is he athletic enough to play third?
I don't know yet. I'd have to see it. and I don't want to answer that question until I see him move around and take ground balls over there. It wouldn't. I could see him play some outfield, possibly. Third base is tough. It's not as easy as people think. You know, and if you haven't played on that, well, he did it in high school, but if you haven't played that left side of the diamond in professional baseball, it's a whole different story.
Ball gets to you quick.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, we talk about a lot of these things after games. We move a lot of players around, and we do a lot of different things.
Oh, I'd love to be in some of those rooms just to come up with some dynamics to see what you guys have been
callers,
put together.
you'd be amazed what some of our callers have had a couple drinks. They put him in center.
Yeah.
No, we can't put him. Maybe left. Maybe left.
Yeah, that's when you start experimenting a little bit more. I understand that.
Think about this. Mark Canha, when Mark Canha was a Rule 5 guy, and we were like, okay, and I remember it was Billy Bean. You're like, nice Cal guy, went to Bellarmine. Like, what can he play? It's like, well, he can play some first and maybe some third and DH. Who would have ever thought Mark Canha would be manning center field for the A's in good seasons?
That's what we do.
Right?
That's what we do.
Well, that's what the key for guys like you.
Yeah.
You got to be able to teach them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you look at the infielders that we've had come through the last few years and being able to put them in a position to at least, catch the baseball, go out there and be serviceable, right? Guys that were probably playing out of position, you got a Jordan Diaz playing second, even though he was a third baseman. Was he going to play second? No, but we made him serviceable. Jonah Bright coming up and having a little bit of flexibility, being able to play second base. So that's the important thing for these guys is understanding that the more that you can do for this team, you're going to find a way to find yourself on the diamond, and be versatile, because that's how we do it. If you're swinging a good bat or if you're hot and, we got somebody on the bench who can play shortstop, but you can go move over to second or move over to third, it's going to keep you in the game, So we've got a lot of guys like that now, which is good. You got Max Muncy coming up. You still have Logan Davidson, who's played all over the field. Jacob and Zach are doing what they're doing. And it's just one of those things where it's like you're starting to kind of put together the pieces that you have of guys that can move all over the diamond. And it's kind of a fun group. It is. Athletic group. Yes.
Nothing worse when you don't have an athletic group.
Well, yeah, we won't talk about that.
Yeah. Then it's just good luck.
Yeah.
Let's end on this.
Yeah.
You got drafted by the A. You're somewhere in the teens, right? You're in the teens. Were you like 14th, 15th, 17th? You've been around this organization for a long time. You've seen it evolve. Just what is it like for you being here? I mean, I know it means a lot to you.
I'm an Oakland A. They drafted me and gave me an opportunity to play. I overachieved and got to the level where I probably peaked at, you know what I mean? But the way I went about it and played, I think left an impression on them, knowing that I can probably come back as a coach or scout. I was away from the organization for about 4 or 5 years. And when I stopped playing, they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to coach. And at that time, I wasn't ready to coach yet. And then a scouting position opened up and they asked me if I wanted to scout. And I'm like, you know what? That's my foot back into baseball. And I got back into baseball. And when I was scouting, they really were trying to push me to coach. Lip was on me since day one. I signed as a scout. He's like, well, I know we got you as a scout, but when are you going to come over on the coaching side? I'm like, Lip, I just started this. I don't even know if I like it yet, you know. And year after year after year, kept asking me if I wanted to coach. And then finally we had that group with Olsen and Pinder and Healy, you know, D-Rob, and they really wanted me to take that group and take them to Double-A. And that's just when I made the transition. So, you know, be part of this organization for so long has been a blessing. I'm appreciative for every opportunity that they've given me. Get to live my childhood dream, and I get to coach in the big leagues. I mean, there's nothing better. I get to come to these winter meetings. I'm doing some stuff for MLB, and they allow me to do this stuff in the off season. It's a way of giving back and being appreciative of the things and the opportunities that I've been given, and trying to help people get, you know, experience these things as well. So,
what are you doing for MLB?
Well, I do a conference that's called Take the Field, and that's more for women and females that are trying to get into the game, whether on the coaching side, the scouting side, baseball ops, anything like that. So Billy O and Billy O does a panel. I do breakout sessions with females who are trying to coach, and just they ask me questions like, how do you relate to players? How do you work with players? How do you get players? How would you approach a player, me being a female, to help these guys when they're going to look at me and be like, you don't know what you're talking about? I'm just trying to give them advice of how to work with players, you know, whether it's infield, whether it's hitting. You know, I've also had the scouting background. And then this morning I did the MLB diversity networking event, which was great too. A bunch of people just coming up and talking and just trying to steer these people in the right direction. give them advice and, just coaching, that's
Good,
it.
good karma to give back.
Absolutely,
especially
man.
at the holidays.
Oh, you know what? It's a given season, man. Got to give back for sure,
Well, I you know what? We got here, and I'm kind of like, man, I know we got to go through Christmas and New Year's, but I'm looking forward to. We just had Steve Fanelli on, Vice President, and we were talking about season tickets go on sale today to the public.
Hey.
And then we got spring training tickets on sale right now. February 23rd is the first game against the Rockies.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, February 12th, I think, is report day for us pitchers and catchers. So, every time the winter meetings come, it's like, okay, cool. I love doing these events. I see some people. But then it also reminds you, it's like, oh, shoot, that season is coming upon us, Christmas. And then you look and it's January and you're like, wow, we got a month. And then next thing you know, you're right back at it again. But I'm excited. I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. I mean, we're baseball people. We're probably bored after a month being home. You know what I mean? But for me, I've enjoyed a little bit of this offseason, but I'm really excited about this season.
And I always realized, man, I got to start losing some weight.
Yeah, I mean, we had Thanksgiving. I went to New Orleans for the
Cameron puts on 10 pounds.
I was told to ask from what we call a first-time caller, long-time listener, Scott Emerson. He said to ask you about being a mailman before you got into scouting.
Yeah, so that was kind of my in-between thing. When I stopped playing, I knew I didn't want to coach right away. I just needed a little bit of time away from the game, because if I would have went into coaching right after playing, I would have still thought, oh, I can still play. I needed to know that I was done. And then I had an opportunity to become a mailman. It was a government job. I didn't have any plans, so I was like, I can't turn down a government job. So I was delivering mail for about a year and a half. And then the Oakland A's called me and asked me if I wanted to scout. And that's how I got into scouting.
That's interesting. You needed closure on your career.
Yes. Yeah. I stopped playing on my own. And I was fortunate enough never to be released. I had opportunities to play. I still had calls to go back and play. But at that time, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm done. I think my window of making it to the big leagues kind of passed. And if
do you feel you're a filler at that point?
Yeah, for sure. I was going to be a 4A guy, if anything, which is fine, but I didn't need to do that anymore. I didn't need to be that guy anymore. It's time to stay home, live my life, figure out what I want to do from then on. I wasn't going to chase the dream and play until I was 40 years old in the minor leagues and maybe get a cup of coffee at 32. I appreciate the ones that do that and chase it. But for me, I was good. I overachieved. I made it to I played 4.5 years at AAA, played out of the country.
That's
yeah, I was
high level. I mean, it's your
yeah, got a couple big league camps and that was it, and it was awesome, man. And so for me, but I needed that closure away from it, because if I would have gone right in, I would have been like, ooh, I still got the itch, And so I was kind of the best of both worlds. Separated for enough to miss it. I was brought back in scouting, so a different perspective of watching players. But I knew I always had the itch and wanted to coach at some point, and then that opportunity came later, and here I am.
See, it's so different from me. After I got done playing at San Jose State, I immediately started doing play-by-play for the San Jose Giants, which was high A.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting up there calling these games going, wow, I stink. These guys are way better than me. My closure was real quick.
It was quick, right?
It was real like, wow, these guys are all throwing like 98. Like, yeah. I'm right where I need to be.
Right where I need to be.
By the way, a mailman is such a great job.
Absolutely.
You're in shorts. It's great weather.
Southern
You're
California?
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I had friends.
Guaranteed money. Retirement.
Yes. Oh,
yes.
Yeah. I couldn't turn down a government job. I had friends that lived on the route. I had friends that lived on the route. I'd take my lunch break at their house. But it was to a point where the neighbors didn't know that I knew their friends. And so I'd go into the house for a lunch break and come back out like an hour later. The wife would be home and I'm friends with the wife, right? The neighbors were like,
the mailman.
So my buddy hits me up a few years later. He didn't tell me the story until a couple of years later. He's like, I forgot to tell you this story about one of my neighbors. He didn't know how to approach me. Like, he was awkward for a couple of days. And finally, he's like, you know what I'm going to say? He's like, I just want you to know that your mailman comes every couple of days and he goes into your house and he comes back, or he leaves like an hour later. And he walks away. And my buddy played it off for about 15 minutes, got mad. He went in and talked to his wife. And he's like, I'm going to pretend I'm yelling at you like we're getting in an argument. They went in, they argued for a second. They both came out and they're like, that's one of our good friends. He just comes and, takes his lunch here. It's like a kid that I grew up with. I grew up with both of them. But it was a funny story.
It's like a Hallmark movie.
Oh man, the guy was my buddy was like, he was so awkward with me for 2 days because I can tell he wanted to say something to me, and I understand why he was awkward for a couple days, and then he finally said it, and I'm just like, oh my God. So, but yeah, no, it was great, man. It was great. Southern California, great weather, government job. I'm like, okay, I can do this for a while.
Ride it to retirement.
Yeah, right into the Torey, and then the A's come and scoop me up out of a government job. What were they thinking? No, I'm glad they did. You know, Kubota called me and he's like, well, we can't probably pay you. I'm like, I don't care about that. I'm back in baseball. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so
where you belong.
Right where I belong. I love it, man. And I'm blessed for this opportunity every year. I'm just happy every year that you know, they trust me to come out here and do this job. And it's all I want to do. You know what I mean? I want to help this organization win, and whatever capacity they need me to do it in, I'm going to do it. So.
All right, well, have a great Christmas.
Well.
Happy holidays.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we'll see you in Arizona.
Absolutely, Townsend. Great seeing you.
He's the man right here on A's Cast Live. More from the winter meetings in Dallas next.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the big games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that's been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
JJ Bleday was on A's Cast Live and explained what changed for the A's during the second half of 2024.
I think it was just like putting up good series against those good teams. You know, we might not have won every single series, you know, against those winning teams, but just like splitting series and taking 2 out of 3 against some good teams. We just had that swagger that second half of the season. And guys like Law, guys like Rooker, Gela, I mean, they just, like, some of these guys just went on some tears to absolutely just get us going and get in that mindset of, hey, we can compete here. We can compete with the best of them. Let's just like keep our head down and keep doing what we're doing, because things are going to turn around and we're going to get some dubs. That's what happened. And same with our pitching. You know, our pitching came in clutch in certain areas. Our bullpen came in clutch in certain areas. And we were able to put up runs. Like, I felt like there was a 1 month where it just seemed like we were putting up 12 runs a game. And it was that handing off the baton to the next guy, having good quality at bats. Not, even though it's not a home run or a double or we're slugging, we're able to kind of have that long at bat. You know, get that guy's pitch count up on the rubber and really get in their bullpen and expose them as best we can. And it comes with just the mindset of feeding off one another, and then it speaks to our coaching as well. I think you know, Darren, Kotz, Crony, they did a good job at really getting us in that right mindset come spring training, and it just paid off.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
Brent Rooker appeared on A's Cast Live and shared how he's embraced his role as a leader in the A's clubhouse.
It's special, man. It's something I enjoy because I really like watching the young guys kind of come into their own and figure out how good they are and make improvements, both on the field and in their preparation as well, and their mental game as well, the way they think through things, the way that they think about
Streaming from the winter meetings, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
It's the breaking news sounder. But we're not doing political polls.
No.
We're doing winter meetings. What do we have? What breaking news, Karate Kid? What do we have?
Brand new signing to Detroit. Alex Cobb, right-hander, is going to the Tigers on a 1-year deal pending a physical.
How do you not love that? I mean, if there's something that AJ Hinch needs, innings.
Veteran presence.
He needs innings. Like so many of these teams, they just find me guys on a 1-2 year deal. Can you give me innings? I don't know how many innings you're going to give me. Just give me innings.
Yeah.
Talking to Rocco Baldelli, if you missed it earlier today, are we going to have that up?
It's already on YouTube.
Already on YouTube. The manager of the Minnesota Twins stopped by. Torey Lovullo, the manager of the Diamondbacks, is going to be here in moments. I mean, if you think about it, that's central to the way you had Kansas City, you had Minnesota. I mean, obviously Stephen Vogt and the Guardians. And then out of nowhere, here came the Tigers.
Yeah.
Ahead of their rebuild schedule. And then when they got in the postseason, I mean, they just didn't have any pitching. I mean, where we are in baseball, having used 855 pitchers last year, the year before, in total in baseball, 863. Sometimes you need just guys. I need arms. And Cobb is a veteran guy who you can bring in and you can say, I don't know how long you can go and I don't know how many starts, but give me what you got.
Exactly. And I have notes on another AL Central team, Chicago White Sox. Breaking news on their coaching staff under now new manager Will Venable will be Grady Sizemore.
Who will join the program tomorrow at 2 o'clock?
Who?
Will Venable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Grady Sizemore, who was the interim manager at the end of this past season, he is staying on the staff as their offensive coordinator under Will Venable.
So Grady Sizemore is going to go from the manager, interim manager, to offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Hopefully it goes a little better than how the Mariners went with their offensive coordinator last year.
Yeah, he made it like 2 months.
I almost rather have Grady Sizemore as a player right now.
He still looks good.
Ask the White Sox faithful, which would you prefer?
Huh?
Sizemore as a player or as an offensive coordinator?
You lost your thing, by the way, your cover.
Again, my windshield. No. Love, trust, commitment,
effort.
And effort. Torey Lovullo was on his way till someone – look at the boots. This woman is wearing these crazy – here in Texas, you can get away with the crazy boots. What are they? They almost look like they're fire boots.
Yeah, so speaking of legends.
Oh, the great Mickey Morabito is it. Mick, you want to sit down for an interview? Oh, you're going to go see Marcotte? You're having drinks already? The great Mickey Morabito already off to the bar early here in Dallas, Texas. Greatness. All right, it was funny. Torey Lovullo, when he got to the World Series, it was like tough to get him on the program. And then now to get him back and to have him on is great to have him. Back, this all started, I want to say, in 2019 in San Diego at the Marriott.
Yeah.
When we brought you in and we were talking former A, and you told one of the greatest art house stories on your birthday. But it was about like you turning things back around in Arizona, building culture, making the change. And how many times do people do that and people go, yeah, this guy's full of S-bomb. And next thing you know, bang, you're in the World Series.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, awesome being here with you guys. I love my time with you guys. And that is a great Art Howe story. But, you know, the things I learned from Art Howe, I brought along with me, and from every manager that I've played for, worked with, I brought a little bit of what they did that I liked. And Art Howe had a great way to communicate with players. There was an ease to what he was talking about. That day when I got sent down on that story that I told you, I was on my birthday in Toronto. You know, you're going to have a big team party after the ball game, and that all got canceled. And I was explaining that to Art, how disappointing it was in that little office in the Toronto clubhouse. And he basically was tearing up with me. You know, it was one of those things where I felt he was an empath, you know, and I learned that from him. But, you know, to do the things that we did in Arizona, to turn the things around the way that we did there, we're very proud of it. But it's not happening by accident. We got to keep getting after it every single day.
So when you were a player, because a lot of guys, yeah, you may take stuff. You like the manager, you don't like the manager. Were you thinking about that stuff when you were a player?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. Yeah, I was thinking about the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like. And I took more of what I didn't like from certain managers and incorporated that into what I would never, ever do to a player or make him feel the way certain managers made me feel. Now, I've played for some unbelievable managers: Sparky Anderson, Lou Piniella, Terry Francona, Art Howe, so a lot of teams. I was so popular that everybody wanted me on their team. That's what I tell everyone. It wasn't that I wasn't good enough, and I kept getting passed around, traded, put on waivers.
You want to see the cities. You want to live multiple cities.
Yeah, I was very diverse. I wanted to share myself with everybody. But, yeah, of course, I was watching guys going, yeah, that's pretty cool. That was a good moment right there. And it usually dealt with connecting with the player and how is he dealing with the player directly and relating to the player directly. A player wants to be appreciated. A player wants to be understood.
I find it fascinating to watch different teams go through different things, right? Whether it's my time in the NFL, the NBA, or Major League Baseball, you know, because you're either the hunter or the hunted, right? You were the hunter.
Yeah.
Then you became the hunted. What was that like when all of a sudden there are now huge expectations in the Valley of the Sun, and people are like that, oh, yeah, we're coming after the D-backs.
Yeah, it was a little bit different. We snuck up on people in 23. And, you know, everybody said, oh, yeah, the mighty D-backs did it. And we earned that, man. Nobody handed us anything during the 23 season. And we set a standard. We set a certain standard of what was acceptable in Arizona to play for the Diamondbacks. So that's what we talked about. We eliminated the word expectation. And it's easy to say that there are expectations, but when they're not met, that you feel like you're a failure. But we said if we achieve our standard and we're near our standard, we have something to strive for every single day. So, you know, teams looked at us a little bit differently. They knew when they walked into our building at Chase Field in downtown Phoenix that it was going to be a rumble. It was going to be a ball game. And we like that. We embrace that. You know, we were the first team out, the last team in, first team out, whatever it was. We tied with 89 wins. We had a very successful campaign, and I'm trying to tell myself that. But when you don't make the playoffs and you work as hard as you do the way we did and don't get in, you leave something out there, and it makes you very hungry for the next year.
Expectations for yourself. I like it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you had a good year, right? You're in a really tough division, right? I mean, it's a tough, but that's what winners do.
Well, I appreciate that. Right. We're in the NL West, right? You're looking at the Dodgers, and the Padres had a tremendous season. The Giants were right around 500 all year long. I know what the Rockies were doing. They were kind of rebuilding. So it was a very rugged division. And, you know, there's no throwaway games in Major League Baseball. You got to go out there and earn things every single day.
When I think about your guys' run to the World Series and where you are now, just to watch, and we go down there for spring training, just to watch how the community embraced you, What's life like now, or what was it like during that run to where probably when you go to the grocery store, or you go somewhere that like everybody's like way into it, like they've never been before?
Yeah, it was the community has really accepted me and my family, and I'm so grateful for that. And it is a little bit different, right? I do go into a grocery store and somebody will reference something that I said or say congratulations and how proud they are of the Diamondbacks and me, and that means a lot to me more than anything. The fact that I can connect with people that way and they appreciate what we do, that's the reason why I do this. I want to win. First of all, I want to win, but I want to connect with the community and the fans in Arizona. They deserve a winner. They want a winner. We represent the entire state of Arizona and then some to bordering states. And they're a hungry community. They want things done right. They want a championship, and we're going to hopefully give them one very, very soon.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be like for us once we hit Nevada. Is like you represent an entire state. It's just not a city.
Right.
It's so different. It's the entire state gets behind you. The games are shown everywhere. It's not your market is a state.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I came from the Boston Red Sox baseball community in the New England area, and you represented a lot of states, and there's a lot of support there. And when it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, heads up. So basically the same thing in Arizona. When you walk around, you got to be Arizona proud. My family, we love Arizona. We are Arizona proud, and the Diamondbacks want to go out there and represent that community the best way we can.
Well, you have to be happy that the 15 years, $765 million didn't go to the Dodgers. There's one thing going for you, that he signed with the Mets and not the Dodgers.
Well, for a little while there, look, nothing against the other parts of the divisions or the leagues, but everybody was migrating to the NL West. It was Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Machado, Soto came over from the Nationals to the Padres. So yeah, let's get them out. Let's filter them out. We can send them east. We're going to play the Mets. We know that, but look, so well deserved, and he bet on himself, and ultimately that's what we do in this game. You bet on what you know and what you're capable of doing. And I know he had an opportunity to stay in Washington for about half the amount, and he said, no, I want to go out and play the game the right way and earn what I can, and he certainly did.
What are the things you guys looking to do to strengthen yourself here at the winter meetings?
Yeah, we're projecting to stay at a certain payroll, and that's always a challenge for us. We're a challenged organization when it comes to that. We're not a free spending organization, and that's fine. I love the fact that our owner says it needs to stay in this area, because it makes you be a little bit better. It makes you win those little inches all over the field, and you can't take anything for granted. We got to go out and play our game our way to win baseball games. So we're challenged financially, but you're always looking to add controllable starting pitching. The back end of a bullpen are always very, very important pieces. And I feel like the bullpen is a huge part of what helps a team drive and push towards winning late season baseball games and winning championships ultimately. We're projected to lose our first baseman in Christian Walker, so we might need a replacement there. But we feel like we have some really good key ingredients inside of our organization that will help us continue to grow and learn and go to win baseball games. But if I had a crystal ball, I would say probably some back end pieces in the bullpen and a corner infielder.
I don't know how you guys do it. 2 years ago, it was 863 pitchers were used in baseball. 863 different human beings pitched. Last year, I think it was 855. We're using record amounts of players. How you get all these innings night after night, just, oh my God, how much can I get after the starter? When do I go to my bullpen? Never before have managers had to figure out innings like you guys now.
Yeah, it's tough, and I sit down before a game with a pitching coach and go over who's available, who's not available. And we have a search engine based on their medical history and who they are individually about how to protect these athletes, because we're really premium starting pitching is the way you win championships, right? You get a couple number ones, maybe 4 number twos, you're going to be in a really good spot. So you got to protect those investments. And it's very, very difficult to project how many innings a certain guy is going to throw on a certain day. But the game is trending in a little bit of a different way. It's 5 innings, then turn it over to the bullpen, and those bullpen pieces can start to get run down as well. I'm more traditional. I like to see somebody go 6-7 innings. If they're going to go that strong, you're going to be Joe Madden said, when my pitcher goes 7 innings, I get really smart in the 8th and the 9th inning, right? So starting pitchers can make managers look really, really smart.
Love, trust, effort and commitment.
Wow, you're good.
I told you when we had you on, a couple years ago,
Yeah.
I have that swinging A's, the old swinging A. I wrote it on the back of it.
Yeah.
Love, trust, ever commit. I look at it all the time when I'm doing my show.
Yeah.
I loved it because if you believe it, if you preach it and you live it, man, it's amazing how people come together. And when people come together
Yeah.
and everybody's pulling on the same rope, it's amazing what people can do.
It is powerful, man. It's that feeling that you have when you're in a room with people that are lined up with you and you want to go out and run a race together. You could charge through that wall and you feel like you want to, and somebody's got to stop you and say, hang on, save your energy because we got a game to go play. That's the feeling that I want our organization to have. So, yeah, it is love, trust, commitment, and effort. That is the backbone of who we are and what we believe in. And, look, I think love is the bond. You got to love what you do. You got to love the brother sitting next to you. You got to love them no matter what, and you got to find a way to get to know them on a level where you can reach them. In our case, being teachers, we got to find out how to be the best teacher possible. When you get trust, you get a commitment, and then you're going to get the best effort out on the baseball field. So that's what we believe in. It's a real thing. It really is. And, I'll end a meeting, not with everybody, but I'll end a meeting with about half of the players. And I call a lot of guys into my office. That's what I do. I'm the baseball manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks. I run a game from innings 1 through 9. But prior to the day when I get to the ballpark, I'm calling in players, 2 or 3 a day, to just conversation about where you're at, get them grounded, have them get grounded with me so I understand who I am a little bit more within his space. And, half the time the guys say, all right, thanks, Skip, I love you. I'll talk to you later. And that's not uncommon where a player will say, I love you to the manager. And that's a really good space to start.
Tony La Russa always said, like, when he was with the A's, that he would try and talk to every player every day.
Yeah, I do that.
Has family, has kids,
You got to connect with these guys. They got so much on their mind, and this game's hard enough. So I try to connect with 26 guys every single day. Tony's a mentor of mine. It's one of the first things he told me. He said, because he was working for the D-backs when I got the job, and he said to me, make sure you connect with your players every single day, especially the relief pitchers, because you're either handing them the ball, or taking the ball away from them. That's the hardest connection for any manager. Make sure you connect with those boys.
Whoever gets to do the manager's show every day with you is lucky.
I appreciate that. Will you tell the guys that?
I'm telling you, you're lucky.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You are the best.
I appreciate it, man.
We're pulling for you always. Always pulling for you.
And likewise. And congrats to you guys. I know there's a big move. I know you guys are going to grind here for a little while, but you're gonna land on your feet and be in a great community there in Nevada.
Yeah, we have a lot of new things that we are growing. We haven't announced it all yet, but a lot of stuff. But be well, enjoy the meetings. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and we'll see you at spring training.
Sounds good. Always appreciate it.
More coming up next right here on A's Cast Live.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Link Soul has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
A's DH Brent Rooker sat down at Townie on A's Cast Live to discuss the positive vibe in the clubhouse during the second half of 2024.
Yeah, it's special. I think, even after that last game in Seattle, guys are already kind of itching to get to spring training and get back with this group that we have and continue the momentum that we built the last three or so months of the year. I think we've got a bunch of guys who are bought into what we're doing, a bunch of guys who are bought into each other, bought into themselves as individually as players. There's a lot of confidence both in one another as teammates and then in ourselves as well as individual players. So I think we all like what we have going. We could all kind of sense the things starting to change and starting to turn towards the end of the year and even, kind of starting midway through the year. And we're just looking forward to getting back at it and keeping that momentum going.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
A's general manager David Forst was on A's Cast Live and discussed building the A's roster heading into a new ballpark in West Sacramento.
What we do know about Sutter Health is that as it relates to the PCL, it's a pretty average ballpark. I mean, it's not Albuquerque, it's not Las Vegas. Colorado Springs isn't in the PCL anymore, but it's not Colorado Springs. So it has always played as a slight hitter's ballpark, but nothing compared to the rest of the PCL. Now, once we put Major League players in there and the Major League environment, we'll see. Right now, we're going to build a team that we think is the best in any environment. We knew the Coliseum well. We knew the kind of things that played here. It'll take us a little while at Sutter Health, but I think we should expect it to be pretty neutral until it proves otherwise.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from the winter meetings. Here's Chris Townsend.
Well, I've always said it, my favorite executive, MLB Network. He's fabulous on television. Dan O'Dowd's here with us once again. How are you?
Favorite former executive. Semi-retired former executive?
You're like an executive on television.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. I play one on TV.
You'll
now.
always be a doctor, but now you're like a doctor on TV.
I get to play one on TV now.
How are you?
Good, Chris. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Last year at the winter meetings, we were like, why is nothing happening? Now we have stuff happening.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a big thing happened, and I think now that'll kind of open things up. I'm not sure there'll be a trickle effect financially. I think that's kind of a one-off. He's such a unique player. Yeah. But I do think clubs that have a sense of urgency to fill needs will now begin to aggressively look to fill needs.
All right, you are the author of The Aircraft Carrier.
I am. Make sure everybody's using that line now, but no one ever gives me credit for it.
I always give you credit. That's yours. Brian Kinney tried to steal it, and
he did. Yeah, I've told him
I know
that.
The Aircraft Carrier. What do you call a guy, whether it's Ohtani or now Soto, what do you call a guy that's a $700 million guy?
Yeah, well, they probably have 2 aircraft carriers and a couple destroyers that are on
and a sub.
And a sub. Yeah, a nuclear sub, too. The whole thing about Ohtani, too, I just find this comical. They're comparing what Juan Soto just got and what a deep discount Ohtani got. Ohtani is the most unique talent in the history of our game, where his off-field endorsements, totally shadow what Soto's going to get paid on a yearly basis. So for him to do what he did, he didn't give up anything other than he wants to play on a great team. But if you want to factor in his off-deal endorsements back into his average annual salary, which you in some ways could very easily do, he's still the highest paid player in our game.
And then I think about the Dodgers, because I learned this all the years when Ohtani was at the Angels. They've heard me say this a lot, is the return on investment, the money you make, international dollars, not only domestic, but
they did
international
very well.
dollars. I don't know. I guess Steve Cohen doesn't care, but I mean, other than the baseball player, the return on investment, what are you making off Soto?
Well, again, I think he's also an outlier in our game. The financial wealth that he does have and his ability. I mean, he's a huge art collector. And so, I don't know if he looked at the ROI on Juan the same way you look at a piece of art, but I'm sure financially, in some ways, the models are somewhat similar. I think he'll have an ROI. I think the season ticket base will go up. I think their interest, the first time the little brother gets to play a little bit more of the big brother role within that city, I think it'll help their their TV ratings. I think across the board, he will generate income for him. Ohtani is just uniquely different because it opened up an entire sector of the world for the Dodgers to begin to explore partnerships and financial relationship partnerships that just change the dynamic financially of their franchise probably for years to come. So you got to fund these deferrals. And all the money they're making in the Far East, I'm sure that's going to fund all of these deferrals, not just Ohtani's.
When he plays against us, and especially when he's with the Angels, and all of a sudden the ribbon behind home plate is all Japanese
It's different.
advertising.
It's really different, man. It's very unique. And hey, Juan Soto's a great player. I do think in some ways the Yankees dodged a bullet, though. They would have had 4 players pushing $180 million in payroll. So if Hal Steinbrenner was accurate saying, listen, I want to keep this thing in around that 300 area, just do the math. I mean, you'd have 120 to 140 million to work the field, another 22 players in a large market. You can't develop that many players. They're going to be either value or contributors. So you're going to have to go back into the market to sign those kind of players. Again, the math just for me never added up at all for him to go back there.
So obviously in New York right now, Yankees are taking some heat. So I just think about like Santander. I just think of whether it could be Bregman, it could be Corbin Burns, whoever.
Yeah, I would have a whole. I mean, I always play fantasy GM now because I don't have to play a real one, and so I do play that at home too, not just on the air. And so like the moves I would do if I'm Brian Cashman, like he needs my advice. He's going to the Hall of Fame. I'm not. And so I like Profar for them in left. I think it gives them a switch hitting leadoff hitter that doesn't strike out a lot. I'd like to trade for Bellinger and play him in center. I think that park is built for his swing. I would trade for Arenado, but I would get a discounted dollar coming back for me, and I wouldn't trade a lot of prospects. And I would sign Walker. I wouldn't play necessarily where Alfonso will get years. I would play in the Walker shorter contract, higher AVV. If you add all that up, I think it's going to be more than what Soto would have gotten, but I don't think the commitments, nobody's going to get 15 here in that deal. So I create payroll flexibility down the road for myself. I think if you put that lineup together, it's a better lineup than they ran out a year ago. I don't know if they're going to do that, obviously, Chris. I just feel like they have a lot more flexibility to make those, at least to try to make those things happen.
I mean, those 4 names right there, if that wouldn't excite you and say the team's not better.
I would now. I mean, listen, you can throw a lot of bodies at trying to create a positive war. Soto is just a true aircraft carrier, but that would have limited their capabilities to doing so much. And in our game, it's just not about your 10 best players. You'd like it to be about that, but it's about you've got to have like 15 really good players. You got to have another 11 good players that are solid contributors, and then you've got to have another 15 to 20 after that of value depth players to be able to win in our game anymore. That would have been very hard for them to develop that kind of model.
The other day in Sacramento was our first press conference there.
Yep, saw that.
Luis Severino was a huge signing, and so I was on before the press conference, and I said to our fan base, I was like, this, more than just the arm, this is a symbol of change. The organization's changing. It's spending money, the future. How did you see the signing of Severino?
One, I thought he was a great fit just from a talent standpoint for the club, just for the innings. I mean, it's so hard to find durable starters in our game anymore. I think Luis is not I break starters down to impact, contributor, value. Your impact guys are your 1 and 2s. Your contributors are your 2 and 3. Your values are your interchangeable, 5s and 6s that go back and forth. I think he's a solid contributor. I don't think he's a 1 or 2 necessarily in the game. I think he's a really good 3, and I think he's going to give him a ton of innings. And I think it sent a commitment to the other players on the team. Like you may have talked about, it's a commitment into the community that the A's are going to step up here. I think it was a bigger commitment to those young kids on the team that I think, really started to show the second half of the year that the A's have a really talented young group of players. So I'm excited. Hopefully they can sign some of these younger guys to long-term deals and really create this wave of momentum over the next coming years in going into Vegas.
Yeah, you've talked about how the situation, how tough it is for David Force. You've known him for a long time. I mean, it's been very tough, but you could tell there was a little spring in his step. It was a little different.
It was. I thought they nailed their draft a year ago, Chris. I think the Kurtz kid is an aircraft carrier. I think he'll be in the big leagues some point in time this year.
Yeah.
I think Tommy White, was the child of expectations. I think he's going to end up being their starting third baseman here soon. I think the guy can flat out rake. So now you got the young catcher who's turned into an all-star. You got Kurtz at first. You got Geloff, who I think is going to bounce back next year and have a really good year. I think that was the sophomore expectation hurt year. Wilson's, He's like a young version of Willie Adames. I don't know if you have quite the same power, but that durable, show up, play every day, winning type player. And then you got Tommy at third. Then you've got Andujar, who I think is just like they found one there. And Blade, who's just figuring things out. And Butler with Rooker, sharing those corner spots and DHing. I look at that and go, wow. And they got, to me, the best closer in the game on the back end here, him or Clase, in the back end of their bullpen. That's so much to be excited about if you're an A's fan, if you're a baseball fan in general.
How do you not love hearing all that? All right, before we get to what you and your son, the business that you're in, I just wanted to ask you towards the future, because I saw this in my time working for the Raiders when the Raiders were making the move to Nevada. Like all of a sudden, agents, players start thinking no state taxes. And I know fans don't like to hear about it, but in California, when you're making a lot of money and it's
punitive.
13.3% of your check every game is going to the state of California. As a general manager, and what the A's will be able to do coming up here pretty soon is you can sign guys that go into Nevada, then after Nevada. How much does that play when you're talking to the agent saying, hey, no state taxes?
It depends on I think it means a lot to your internal players of trying to get them signed long-term deals. I think it comes down to the degree of separation for an external sign, like how far are you apart on terms and length and things of that nature. I think that becomes a separator if you're comparing a player to the East Coast or the West Coast, or even in through the Chicago, Midwest, the large markets in Chicago, having no state income tax. I think it was a huge factor in the Rangers being able to sign Simeon and Corey Seager and some of those things. Your dollars just go a lot further in states that have no state income tax. I moved to Tennessee for that reason. So, I know that.
You know that exactly.
I know that exactly.
Were you still in Colorado?
I was. And they're nowhere near taxation state as California. Like there's nobody in the country like California that taxes wealth. But Colorado was still high. And so it's just amazing what it does to your incremental revenue when you move to a no-tax state.
Well, I know your son is here. Remember, we talked about it. I mean, for baseball players, softball players to become a better hitter, talk about your guys' device.
Yeah, it's a swing decision company. I mean, it's called winreality.com. So that's where you go on to buy our product. And basically, we're a swing decision company. We help young players get better at deciphering what pitch they should and shouldn't swing at and being able to attack the pitches that are in the zone that they should crush. Very simply, we do that. We do everything before you start thinking about your swing. Because if you don't recognize the pitch on time and you don't create some spacing to be able to get your swing off, you're never going to be a good hitter, no how good your swing is. So that's what we do. We've got about 70,000 customers across the country in all different age groups, ton of big leaguers, ton of college programs using it. And I'm so proud of it because we have the data now that supports how much better we can get players to be if they just use it appropriately.
And I don't know if you know this, but it's Christmas time.
It is Christmas time.
If I have a young baseball player, if I have a young softball player, and we have a lot of those listening.
That's right, man.
What is the website?
Winreality.com. Go on it, and it's a great Christmas present.
Well, to be able to decide what the pitch is and should I swing at it is a big deal.
And do it in 10, 15 minutes. And we've got this other really cool mode called Coach Pitch. And that allows a parent to be able to download the app onto their phone and pick the pitch and the location to their son or daughter hitting in the app, doing the swing decision challenges in the app. So it gets to be a little competitive. You can call fastball down and away. If the child swings at it, the parent wins. If the child doesn't swing at it, the child wins. You can play count sequences, 0-2 counts, run them on third base. Got to get a ball in a nitro zone. You can do so much with it. So for the parent that actually can't throw BP because of physical limitations in any way, shape, or form, that actually can participate, creating an emotional connection with the child, but doing it from their own confines of their home.
And doing the business with your son's got to be pretty cool.
Oh, it's pretty fun. I'll do it with my younger son, and I'll call change up 3 times in a row, and he'll take the headset off and go, really? Like, really? You're going to throw a change up in that location 3 times in a row? Come on.
Yeah.
So it's that's the banter that goes back and forth, and that's a really cool part of the product.
It's one of my favorite times, whether it's the winter meetings or during the season when you come on. This show gets smarter when you're on the program.
I appreciate you saying that, but it's low. It's probably not the case. I'm sure you get a lot of smart people. You had Torey on here before me. I'm sure he told you things I'd never even think about to tell you. So you guys do a hell of a show. So congratulations to you and everything you've accomplished, and I'm happy to watch what's going to happen for you in the future.
Have a great Christmas,
too,
good
guys.
holidays, and we'll talk to you during the season. We got more coming up next right here on A's Cast Live from Dallas, Texas.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
Brent Rooker, the 2024 Silver Slugger winner, joined Townie on A's Cast Live to reflect on earning a spot on the A's roster in 2023.
It was a special moment. It was a stressful day, and it was a relieving feeling when I got that news, obviously, because I kind of, I'd been DFA'd and claimed in November. And I had talking to Mark earlier that offseason, as soon as I got claimed, talking to David, talking to finding some guys in the front office. The message was like, hey, we're not, nothing is guaranteed, obviously, but if you come in and you perform well in spring training, we think there's an opportunity for you to make this team and earn the bat. And so that was my mindset coming to that camp, just go in, prove myself, do what I do offensively, and kind of let everything take care of itself. And for that to be rewarded with that last roster spot and be given the opportunity to kind of earn more bats as we got into the season was really cool.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you gotta look good.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to cinnabarhills.com. That's cinnabarhills.com.
JJ Bleday joined Townie on A's Cast Live and shared his thoughts on playing in center field every day during the season.
The one thing was comfort, knowing you're going to be in the lineup. You know you're playing. You know you're going to be in center. It's not like you're playing left and right. For the most part, you're in the center every single game. One thing was just taking care of the body post game. I think that's one thing I learned was stay on top of your health and fitness. Make sure you're getting lips in and you're not slacking. It's an everyday job and it's a grind, so you got to really just embrace that. And then the other thing is just kind of fine-tuning my approach. We all want to change stuff mechanically. We all want to try to improve that way, but at the end of the day, you're kind of dealt with what you got once that season starts in terms of mechanics, and you really got to fine-tune that approach. And I think I did a good job at talking about approaches and finding what works best for me to attack these guys and prepare for these guys come game time.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
A's general manager David Forst joined Townie on A's Cast Live and outlined why he believes this offseason the A's can build on their 2024 campaign.
As far as the guys on the field, the team, the opportunities we have, I think internally we're all very excited about what we can do this offseason. And we do expect to spend some money. I don't know yet what free agency looks like for us. I obviously am not allowed to have those conversations until after the World Series. So we'll have to wait and see how the response is when we talk to players and agents about coming to Sacramento. We expect to be very involved in the trade market. Between Dan and I, we've talked to almost every other team in the last couple of weeks. So to set up those conversations, from the GM meetings on forward. And I think we're going to be able to build on what we did in 24 and continue to add to this roster to get to a place where we can compete for a playoff spot. That's where we need to be.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. Take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
For 175 years, Comerica has thrived through every rise and fall. We've lived through triumphs and turmoil, witnessed every advance, and survived every setback. Through surety and uncertainty, we've stood the test of time by standing by our beliefs, our values, and our customers. Comerica Bank, 175 years strong. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'scast. That's athletics.com/A'scast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'scast today.
Streaming from the winter meetings, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
Jim Duquette is going to join us. He is on his way over, the former GM of the Mets, the Duke, who we've had on, does a very successful show on SiriusXM, the Power Alley with Mike Farron.
We're looking at Farron right now.
When is his partner going to show up here, Mike Farron?
He says Wednesday. He's busy. He says he think he can do it Wednesday.
Oh, he's busy on Wednesday. You know, the problem with him is he's standing right in front of us throughout the day, so it's going to be tough for him to say he's busy when you're standing in front of us.
Yeah, I'll just take a picture. I'm going to take a picture right now and be like, oh.
Yeah. You're super busy. Super, super busy. But also, he does his work on SNY, Jim Duquette. And a lot of belief in our industry that once his kids get a little bit older, he will go back into the front office. I don't know it's what team, but he'll go back into the front office. Guys, I'd be pouncing if I was a player right now after everything that happened. I'd be totally ready. I'd have my agents, because you know what? Teams are gonna get a little shifty, especially the teams that didn't work out for Juan Soto. And I thought Dan O'Dowd's idea, Christian Walker at first, you replace Rizzo.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying from the Yankees standpoint, right? You get Arenado, who the Cardinals are looking to trade, and the Cardinals know they're going to have to eat some of the money. So I moved Chisholm to second. Gleyber Day gone. So I moved Chisholm to second, and then I'll put Arenado at third, and then he had Profar, who had a great year last year, put Profar out and left. And what did he trade for, Cody Bellinger?
Yeah, Bellinger, yeah.
I mean, those are four moves. Like right now, if you had those four guys, you are better as a baseball team than just spending all that money for Juan Soto.
Yeah, 100%. And you get a guy like Bellinger who's still young-ish. He doesn't make that much money. Oh, he also floated the idea of Arenado and having the Cardinals take back some of the money. I never thought I'd hear someone say the Yankees can't take on money, but you bring in a guy like Arenado to play third, who's going to be I hate to say this term, but future Hall of Famer. Nolan Arenado. You can have him at third. You can have Walker play first, another Gold Glover at first. So you're showing up your defense. It was as the Dodgers said all over the place on podcasts, the Yankees defense that was one of the reasons why they didn't win.
Does Arenado does he have a no trade clause?
I think so, but I think they might have to rework it at some point or somehow. Yeah. So we'll figure out how they eventually want to figure that part out. But he'd be interesting to see playing for the Yankees because they've had some not great third base play recently.
Yeah, that is really interesting. And the Duke now joins us here.
What's up, gentlemen?
On A's Cast Live. How are you?
Got a little sweat going here, a little lather, walking back and forth to the Sheridan across the street for the Sports Management Worldwide Conference. It was an extravaganza with myself and my cousin, Dan Duquette, speaking to the young
Duquette Square
future executives out there, paying it forward. And I got held up because they were asking me a ton of questions. I'm like, boys, I got to go.
That's good karma.
I got A's Cast. My boys, if I don't get over there, I'm going to be in deep trouble. I won't have any Gucci loafers waiting for me down the road.
That's what I'm talking about because your partner is already drinking over here, Farron.
Of course
I mean,
he keeps saying he's busy, but we keep seeing him standing around.
He's not busy. No. Somebody asked me, you guys can appreciate this. Somebody asked me last night as I was going over to talk to him, go on air for the Juan Soto. We had the breaking news.
Yeah.
They said, "Where's your boy Farron?" And I said, "He's over on the set." And they said, "Is he sweating yet?" I said, "Well, he was born sweating." He woke up this morning in a full-on sweat. Guy sweats every minute of the day.
Yeah. Well, Dan O'Dowd was just here, and it was interesting talking to him, and now to get your opinion because obviously being in New York still, working in New York, covering the Mets. I mean, been the GM in New York. Just talk us through what it's like on both sides, right?
Sure.
If you're David Stearns on the Mets side and your Uncle Steve with the big cash, then you're on the Yankee side, and the bad looks like losing to the little brother.
So this is a stunning acquisition for the Mets. They're in the at least for as long as I can remember. I started in the organization in 1991. We never competed against the Yankees for players. Like either we wanted the player and they didn't, or they wanted the player and we were like, well, we have no chance to beat them in the negotiation. That was the back and forth. And so last year really was the start of this kind of, we'll call it fight for free agents. They both negotiated for Yamamoto. They both came up empty, but that kind of started things off, like, okay, this is going to be kind of fascinating going into next year. And they all felt that Soto was the guy, and obviously the Yankees wanted to keep him. And so this is the only time that I can remember that the Mets actually beat the Yankees in pursuing a free agent that they both wanted at the same time. I don't think it's existed ever. And you had to go to such great lengths. And the fact that the Mets stayed in it as long as they did, on the Mets side, it's a tribute and it's a credit to their ability to stay involved, stay engaged, not just be the highest bidder, but sell them on a vision for the next 15 years for a guy who wasn't in their organization, didn't know a lot about it, and sell him on, hey, here's what the roster looks like, here's the depth in the lineup, here's the protection in the lineup, all of those things that kind of come with selling a player and coming to the Mets. But the kicker is that you took him away from the crosstown rival in the Yankees. Hal Steinbrenner has been trying to, I think, distinguish himself from his dad since he took over and since his dad passed away. And he spent a lot of money. It's just Yankee fans don't think it's ever enough, and that's the hard part is I think if you go back to when they won the World Series in 2009, they spread their money out with CC Sabathia, Mark Teixeira, and A.J. Burnett that year, Mariano Rivera, that whole group. They were a good team. They won the World Series. I think that's the better use for them, for their money to spread around because they have a lot of holes, even though they went to the World Series. So I don't think in the end it's going to be bad for them right now. You're taking a huge hit PR-wise and you're going to take that for a while, especially if Soto helps the Mets get to the World Series and you don't get there the next year. It's the Yankees. So a lot of it's going to be determined, moving forward. But Hal and the Yankees are taking some hits now for sure.
I would definitely bet on the side that they dodged a bullet here.
Yeah,
long term, I bet they
huge risk. Huge risk. I mean, you're on it, and I think with the Mets, like he knows what the risks are, and he went down this road, but he also he's willing to spend so much money that at some point you're going to have to, cover up those mistakes with more money, and he's willing to do that. That's the one thing that Steve Cohen, he's so wealthy, this will hurt, his checkbook, but he is such a huge fan of the Mets, and he's also the owner. This was the biggest impulsive buy I've ever seen in my life. I can tell you that. Oh my God!
I mean, if you're a Mets fan today, it's like we finally beat the Yankees in something, right?
Finally, and they are celebrating.
Yeah,
but they haven't seen Juan Soto's defense in the outfield yet.
But you've won the winter meetings.
You've won it, you know.
Do we get a ring for that? Do you get a ring for winning?
I've never seen a ring if you won the winter, and I've
Okay.
also never seen. Most of the time, they don't win the World Series the next year. So hopefully, they're going to surround it because Mets have a lot of holes too. They need to fill, first base. They need to fill some bullpen, a starting pitcher. They have some things to do.
All right, so there's quite a few guys that are signing these 2-3 year deals as pitchers. They've been relievers, they've been starters. People fear they're being overpaid. I go, if you sign a guy to only 2 years, if you gave him a few more million, there's not a whole lot of risk there.
Right.
And the Mets have done that, right? With Holmes and Frankie Montas, our old guy. Do you like those moves where you're like, it's not a huge risk. It's only 2 years and I need innings.
So that's going to be the interesting thing with a guy like Holmes. Can he handle the workload? He's been a starter before. I don't know I think he has the pitch mix to do it. He's got 3 pitches at least. He might have a 4th pitch there. So I like the move. Worst case, you end up having to put him in the bullpen, and he's, a high paid, reliever. But some of those guys are getting paid a lot of money, and having him set up for Diaz that's the downside there. But there's plenty of upside where, we saw it with Michael King, Ronaldo Lopez, Jordan Hicks, Seth Lugo. The list continues.
I went back to Derek Lowe.
Derek Crochet, Derek Lowe. These guys moving from relievers to starters is not a new thing. It's been more recent that people are kind of trying to identify those guys. So with Holmes, I think it's a reasonable risk. And you saw Montas. Montas, a year removed from the surgery that he had with the Yankees, he started to pitch better with Milwaukee. He started to throw a 2-seam fastball more. I think with the Mets, Jeremy Hefner is their pitching coach, and he'll get him to try to use that 2-seamer a little bit more, and he'll have him use it up in the zone a little bit more like we're seeing with 4-seamers, but he'll use the 2-seamer, and I think that's a reasonable risk for him too. So, and they hit on 3 guys last year, Minaya, who you guys have seen, Quintana, and Severino, who obviously is now with the Athletics. So, I think that model has worked well for David Stearns, even when his Brewers days. So, he at least has some confidence level, at least in my evaluation, that this will work too.
Now, the Severino deal, it was a big deal. You talk about how, symbols, when you start talking about the symbol of Soto for the Mets. Obviously for us, it's the biggest contract ever.
Right.
It's a symbol of change. Things are moving on. This isn't the same old.
Yeah.
Owner's going to spend. Vegas is on the way.
Yep.
Obviously you understand how big this was.
It's a big deal. And, when you go to that level, when you haven't before, obviously you want to see what they're going to continue to do. But they're showing that they're willing to. That's a good sign. And they've been, listen, David Forrest has been trying to spend and was hopeful that this would happen, well before this with a new stadium there in Oakland. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But, the fact that they're spending some money, do they have to overpay by years or dollars or both? Yeah. They do right now because, they're in a AAA stadium. But I really like this. It's kind of a mitigated risk with Severino. He showed really good progress over the course of the year, and he showed that he could stay healthy.
Yeah, we were talking to him about his time going down the drive line and how to make that transition from a thrower to a pitcher, the ability to get the cutter in on lefties and the 2-seamer in on righties, all of a sudden pitching more to contact, less strikeouts, getting deeper into games is a big deal for him, and you guys saw that in New York.
Well, yeah, throwing strikes, he had the velocity. There was a period in the middle of the summer where the velo dipped a little bit, and people were a little, the organization was a little concerned that maybe he was getting tired, and they had kind of I think they gave him a couple extra days rest. He came back, he pitched against Colorado, didn't get results, but the velocity was back. And then the next start, he was, a dominant Severino again. And so I think once he kind of went through and kind of got through that little period of, I don't know if it was dead arm or fatigue, whatever it was, and the fact that he bounced back and pitched like he did, that's encouraging to me. And I mean, the workload was pretty heavy. 80 plus 186
182
innings, or 182 innings. So yeah, I mean, no one. It's one of the tops in the league, and I think he's able to do that again.
As a GM, you bring in a guy like this to a young team who definitely got better and a lot better in the second half. There's talent there. What does it mean inside the clubhouse when you bring in a guy that's with 14 postseason games, 13 postseason starts, to bring a guy like this in?
Well, I think that type of experience, you learn a lot, and he's willing to share his information too. And just watching that pitching staff, they were really close as a starting group. I think that he'll take that leadership and that kind of close-knit mentality and bring that to the staff here with the Athletics. And sometimes you don't know what to expect if you've never been in a situation before, right? You haven't been to the postseason, you haven't been in tight situations, and he's a guy that can give you perspective. He's pitched in the limelight, both in Yankees and Mets for a long time, and he's had some struggles and he's had some success, and so I think he can relate to anybody on the pitching staff. So I like it from a leadership side of things. He's a guy that is willing to take the ball, he's willing to be accountable, and he's willing to share information with his pitching staff. So I think it was a home run for them.
Last year we were in Nashville going, why is no one signing? Now the big boy's off the table early. What are your expectations for, I don't know whether it's trades or it's Christian Walker or it's the Polar Bear, Santander, it's Bregman. What are your expectations now? Because people want to get things done before Christmas.
Yeah, I think when you I had four general managers and about 6 managers on my show today. We had a 4-hour show, and the first question was really like, all right, what's the fallout after the Soto signing? And almost every one of them was like, you know what? But the market reset. And then we kind of see that in usually day one of the winter meetings anyway. But the market reset after the Soto signing, and everyone's like, okay, now it's time to move forward and go after and pursue, because he's not holding up the market anymore. Those teams that were pursuing him that didn't get him, they start to jump back in some of the other options, whether it's Bregman or Burns or Fried, some of the Santander, the high profile guys. In addition to the other teams that thought they had a chance to get one of those guys. So I think for me, that aspect of it, both signings and trade front have started to heat back up again.
Is it tough to get right? It's got to be exhausting if you're like the Yankees and you took it all the way to the end, and then you got to jump right back in. But you do need to find something to kind of cool the flames.
They were starting to go down a separate path. You started to hear like Adames' name, and they had a meeting with Burns, I think, or Fried.
Yeah.
So, they weren't going all the eggs in one basket, but yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough loss to take if you're the Yankees, because you really felt like you had the inside track. If everything was equal, he was going to go back to the Yankees. That's what I had heard, and most people had heard that. It turned out to not be the case. So, they're used to turning the page quickly, but they're also not used to not getting who they pursue. That has not happened very often.
I mean, when you're always getting the best date and all of a sudden someone takes your best date, it's got to be rough.
I like that analogy. You went all the way to the prom and you thought you had a date, and then she left you
for your little brother,
the other guy. That hurts, man.
Oh God,
that hurts. That's a stunner.
And can't you imagine? By the way, your set is near ours.
Yes, it is.
You will not be doing your award-winning front office show.
Correct.
But did the trophy or the championship belt for the award-winning show up?
We're expecting it a late shipment at some point, so hopefully it'll be here like tomorrow or the next day.
Is Bowden here?
Oh yeah, Bowden's here. Oh yeah,
because he's
on the air right now. We will be together on Wednesday morning. So if it comes in, we'll be wearing it on Wednesday.
Because he loves to let everybody know it's the award-winning.
It's usually the first segment, like the first minute of the show.
Yeah,
that's what we.
Is he just sticking it to the rest of your fellow people at SiriusXM?
Oh, they love to hear it. they love to hear that they haven't gotten an award and we have. Oh God, it's not great for team morale. Let's say that.
You work with some beauties over there.
Oh, that is also the truth. Bowden is a beauty. Ryan Spilborghs is a beauty in a completely different way, very endearing way. We've got we have a very good mix of people, young and old.
Yeah.
And really old, like Bowden.
Let's end on this. Yeah. Have you thought about what TV is going to be like this year with you and the Mets?
Yeah, it started to hit me last night when we were doing. I was doing the TV for SNY for the Mets. It's SNY, their Sports Night in New York, and we were doing the show, breaking news. By the way, we broke it before the network. We were on the air. Our first segment was over before the network even got on the air, which is almost stunning in some ways because they're the ones who had the information first. We had Andy Martino, who covers the Mets for SNY. He had it second, but as we were doing this, they had the producer and the head of SNY, he had the numbers on his phone of people that were watching during the show. And not only was it a huge number, but the longer we went, the numbers went up. So it was like a record number of people that were engaged in watching both on the network and on the streaming platforms there for SNY. And we went on for an hour and 15 minutes, and the numbers continued to increase, it seemed like, by segment. It was an unbelievable night. They had huge numbers for SNY just with the level of interest there with this signing.
And remember, this was coming on, right? I don't know. We were on the plane when it was hitting us. Yeah. Sunday Night Football was still going on.
It was
Chiefs
still going
Chargers.
On. Oh, yeah. It was still going on. I think the Jets had an afternoon game. But it was one of those that, you remember where you were when it hit. And getting on the air was important. So get back to your quick question. Like, if the numbers were that way for a hot stove show, in essence, they'll be huge during the course of the season.
Maybe we'll get those winter meeting rings.
It's actually not a bad thought. I'll get that with the front office
awards
trophy.
You're gonna have so many awards over there. It's gonna be unbelievable.
All the bling over there. It's gonna be hard to see our set with all the shine.
Hey, Merry Christmas.
See you guys.
Happy holidays.
Always good to see you.
Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you during the season.
Man. You got it.
And be well.
Thanks. Good. Thanks for having me.
We got one more segment before we end day one right here on A's Cast Live.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the big games. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that's been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Link Soul has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
Streaming from the winter meetings, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
All righty. Earlier today, Steve Fanelli, Vice President of the Athletics, stopped by. We don't have him on video. It'll just be audio because he was in Sacramento. Season tickets are available right now to the public. Athletics.com/season tickets. And then spring training is what? Athletics.com/tickets for spring training?
Athletics.com/spring.
So athletics.com/tickets for season tickets.
Athletics.com/season tickets.
Oh, you always got to have a specific, huh?
Yeah, I don't rate these rules.
All right. So athletics.com/season tickets. And then athletics.com/spring training.
/spring.
/spring. Just
No
spring.
training. Just spring.
What if I did spring training?
Sure, you could try it. I don't know. I was always told to use spring. That's from the great Vittorio DiBartolo. He always told me to use spring.
All right, I want to put in spring training.
No.
Oh, it takes you right.
It takes
to
right to the website.
Yeah, right there you go.
That's a user error.
There you go. There you go. All righty. Steve Fanelli, Vice President of the Athletics, right here on A's Cast Live. Well, now joining us here in Dallas at the winter meetings, he is the Vice President, Sales and Business Operations, Steve Fanelli. We just like to call him the Big Cheese, is with us here on A's Cast Live. How are you, my friend?
Wow, Townie. How are you, buddy?
Well, we're in Dallas. We're fired up. A lot of people are excited about the A's first move in Severino. I know you're back in Sacramento right now, and the huge news today, season tickets are available right now.
Season tickets are on sale to the general public for the first time this morning at 10 a.m. Log on to athletics.com/season tickets to get your season tickets now.
Well, I can tell you, being up there for the Luis Severino press conference, we were out and about after. We went over to Morton Steakhouse, and we went to a couple of different places, and just seeing how the community up there is so fired up and excited and can't wait for A's baseball.
County, we went on sale with a pre-sale for season tickets. The fans that had priority or put a deposit down over the last couple of months, and it's been just incredible, the amount of people that were looking to get tickets here for the full season. And so today we were looking forward to releasing them to the general public and getting them out there and getting everyone else a chance to get their 81-game package.
Yeah, athletics.com/season tickets. And you want to get in now because, you know, the reality is the seating capacity is not the same as what it used to be. So you got to get in now because these tickets, when you say, are going hot.
Look, we're playing in a ballpark that has 10,000 fixed seats and a incredible berm, which will be very unique to baseball. But yeah, there is a limited capacity. So if you do want to ensure that you have tickets to the biggest games and lock in the season ticket rate, the 81-game package is definitely for you.
And then, of course, we also have to talk about something that we all love. And before you know it, Christmas, and then it's going to be New Year's. And then, wham, it's time for spring training. Before you know it, was it February 23rd against the Rockies, the first home game for spring training in Mesa is going to be here.
The best time of year is coming, Townie. February 23rd, you're right. We'll be in Mesa. First game at Hohokam. We just got off of celebrating our 10-year anniversary there. We're looking to do and create just an amazing fan experience, as we always do down there. Joe Punn and his team just do an amazing job with spring training, and it'll be fun to get down there.
Yeah, you think we were celebrating 10 years last year, 11 years in Mesa, and just how much we've enjoyed it and how much it's evolved since year one.
That ballpark's beautiful. When you get in there into that ballpark, the experience, the proximity to the players, the sitting on the berm around the bullpen, it's just a fun time. And the spring training environment, as you know, from going down there for years and years and years, it's unmatched in sports to just have that level of accessibility and that type of exposure to the game at that pace. It's just a super fun time. Obviously,
big change going on, just not for the team and the players, but everybody, right? For all of us, for you, your staff, you've given your life to this organization. And I just wanted to ask you, when it came down Luis Severino and he signs that record contract, a big symbol of change and what is to come, what did that signing, that symbol mean to you as someone that's been around this a long time?
I mean, personally, I've started here at the A's in 1998, and I've seen a lot of great teams on the field, and we've went through these runs. You know how it is, Townie. We've put teams out there that had some of the best players in the world on them, and we've made multiple playoff runs. I think it's a sign of like that next wave is coming. We saw what we had on the field last year with a good young core, and then adding a veteran all-star pitcher to the top of the rotation, to me, like, we've done this. This is rinse and repeat. We're ready for this next wave to happen over the next few years and eventually lead us into the new ballpark in Las Vegas.
All right, athletics.com/season tickets on sale right now to the general public. Cody, what is the spring training?
Athletics.com/spring, right, Fanelli? Athletics.com/spring.
That's it.
I'm
log on now. They went on sale last week.
I don't want my wife to hear this, but I'm ready for spring training now. Being here in Dallas, everybody in baseball, like, I cannot wait for spring training to start. I know David Forst and his crew are going to sign more guys. So for everybody who wants to buy season tickets, it's going to be more than Severino. But I just, Steve, I can't tell you how excited I am to start this season.
No, I'm right there with you. I'm pumped, County. I can't wait to see you down in Mesa.
All right, happy holidays. Have a Merry Christmas with the family, the kids coming back from college. And before you know it, we'll see you in Arizona.
All right, my friend. Good talking to you. Take care, guys.
There you go. Season tickets on sale to the public right now.
Athletics.com/season tickets.
Christmas gifts, stocking stuffers, spring training on sale right now. You name it.
Athletics.com/season tickets. You always make me forget because we're talking about so many different hyperlinks.
And then for spring training, athletics.com/spring.
Spring training.
There you go. There you go. All righty. We are going to interview in about 40 minutes or so, 45 minutes. Stephen Vogt is going to come back here. We're going to tape it for you tomorrow. Jam-packed today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And, I mean, our guest list today was absolutely unbelievable. You have a list?
Martin Gallegos, Twins manager Rocco Baldelli, Bob Nightingale, Hembo,
Paul Hembekides from ESPN,
Johnny Gomes, Bobby Evans, ace third base coach Eric Martins, D-backs manager Torey Lovullo, Dan O'Dowd of MLB Network, former Rockies GM, and Jim Duquette, former Mets GM, now on MLB Network Radio. There he is right there.
A big league first day. Tomorrow we're going to have Stephen Vogt, and who else?
In the morning we're going to have Emo, Scott Emerson, Mark Kotze, Bob Melvin, Katie Wu, who I just saw walking by, covers the Cardinals for The Athletic, Eno Saris, and Mike Petriello. All that they have a big BBWAA meeting, so they're all going to be around.
Oh, yeah. All the writing hacks are going to be here.
And then we're going to have Will Venable, the new manager of the White Sox, in the afternoon, Voter, and Nick Kroll, the president of baseball ops for the Cincinnati Reds so far.
Okay.
And maybe Jed Lowry, who knows? We saw him earlier. We saw him during Steve Fanelli.
And maybe Billy Owens, too, might be stopping by, assistant general manager.
We have a lot going on. And then Wednesday we have a big show, too. So thank you for everyone for watching and listening today.
Well, that's going to do it. Day one in the books here at the winter meetings in Dallas. A lot of fun. And we will keep you updated. And who knows what we'll have for you tomorrow. Be well, everybody, and we'll see you right here on A's Cast Live.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
This has been a presentation of The Athletics.